Chapter 289, Do Not Offend a Rascal. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. What do you mean? Han Li's expression darkened, and a gust of icing air emanated from his body. The entire courtyard grew colder. Not afraid of her father's powerful momentum, Han Ku said, "Father, if you want to find out what happened, just call in Lin Chenyu and Lin Ningshan and you will know everything." Han Li looked at Han Ku keenly. He sent for someone to bring Lin Chenyu and Lin Ningshan to him. Before long, they came to the manor, guided by a bearded elder. The bearded elder bowed to Han Li and, knowing his place, he left. "Greetings, Master." "Greetings, Elder Sister Han." Lin Chenyu and Lin Ningshan appeared very solemn. They bowed deeply in reverential awe. For them, both Han Li and Han Ku are big shots, especially Han Li, whose existence was legendary. He had such a powerful status in Omen Ridge that even Yunwu Commandery Prince should salute him and call him Senior Uncle Master when meeting with him. Han Li sat on a chi chair. He picked up his teacup and gently took a sip. He took a cold stern look at Lin Chenyu and said, "You are Jiang Tanggai's servant. You know the consequences if a servant frames his master, don't you?" Although Han Li had only taken one look at him, Lin Chenyu felt like a mountain was collapsing on him. His sight darkened, and he crumpled to the floor in fear. If two people differed greatly in martial cultivation, just one look from the stronger one was enough to spook the weaker one. Lin Chenyu was on his hands and knees with his face against the ground. His voice trembled. "Master, I wouldn't dare to lie to you. When Elder Sister Han started investigating Jiang Tangai, I told her everything." Han Ku said, "Lin Chenyu, don't be afraid. Tell me everything you know." Lin Chenyu lay on the floor with a trace of cold amusement showing in his eyes. But no one noticed his eyes. "Master, Jiang Tangai is an insidious and villainous man. He will do anything to get what he wants. Previously, I offended him because of a trifling matter and in revenge, he not only sent someone to castrate me, but also forced me to become his servant. This is a dark man with no mercy. He's not as honest and good as he appears to everyone. Truthfully, I don't blame him for what he did to me, for I was in the wrong originally. But I resented him for forcing my sister to become his concubine as revenge against the 9th prince. The 9th prince and my sister were brought up together. They were childhood sweethearts. But Jiang Tangai took my sister away from the 9th prince, his own brother. I also blame myself. I was no match for him, so I couldn't protect my sister. I could only yield to his arbitrariness." Following this, Lin Chenyu listed Jiang Tanggai's crimes one by one. Some of them were true, but he added some lies to take revenge on Jiang Tangai. People would rather offend the gentleman than offend the rascal. Lin Chenyu truly was a rascal. If you offended him, he would seek revenge when you least expected it, and he would stab you in the back mercilessly. All these years, Lin Chenyu had borne all the insults and humiliations silently, groveling to Jiang Tangai. He had long been waiting for this day. How humiliating was it to be castrated? The accumulated resentment in Lin Chenyu's mind all found their release at this moment. Han Li looked increasingly gloomy as Lin Chenyu went on. He said, "Han Ku, do you think he is twisting the truth to get revenge on Jiang Tangai for his castration?" Han Ku replied, "I sent someone to Yunwu Commandery to investigate Jiang Tangai." Most of Lin Chenyu's words are true. Lin Chenyun saw the time was right, so he said, "I want to tell Master one more thing. The reason that Jiang Tangai is kind to Elder Sister Han is that he wants to obtain the practice skills of Holy Universe-reaching skill. He said once he succeeded, he would become the master of Yuntai Suzerain." Han Li breathed deeply, anger blazing in his eyes. He made a fist and said, "Damn it! How dare he think about replacing me? What a remarkable man, really remarkable." Lin Chenyu continued to stir up Han Li's anger. "Jiang Tangai is a man who dares to frame his brother. Is there anything he won't do?" A raging power spread from Han Li's body. His hair and robe fluttered even though there was no breeze, and the air crackled as he clenched his fist. "You two may leave now." Han Li waved his sleeves and tried to restrain his anger. Lin Chenyu and Lin Ningshan stood up and backed away shakily. Their bodies trembled until they left the manor. As he left the manor, a cruel smile showed on Lin Chenyu's face. He said to himself, "Jiang Tangai, I would like to see how imposing you are after this. I have to seek revenge for your past actions. In the past, Han Li might have spared Jiang Tangai due to his supreme talent. But now, it was clear that Han Ku had just as much talent as him. Thus Jiang Tangai was not as important as he'd been previously. Han Ku asked, "Father, how should we punish Jiang Tangai?" Han Li, having calmed down, replied, "Although Jiang Tangai has not behaved himself, he hasn't done anything bad to Yuntai Suzerain. If I expel him from Yuntai Suzerain, I'm afraid that most people will not understand. At the moment, most elders in the Suzerain support him. For now, we do nothing. We can deal with him when he shows his ambitions." Han Ku nodded. Having her father aware of Jiang Tangai was enough. Her father would not force her to marry him now. With the title of the first genius of Oman Ridge, Jiang Tangai drew the attention of many warriors. Punishing him was not an easy matter. "Master, Elder Jiang of the School of the Martial Market has brought you a letter." The bearded elder appeared again and spoke to Han Li with respect. "What letter?" asked Han Li. "It's said that it is a personal letter from Master Lei of the Silver-Gowned Elders Hall." Han Li's eyes lit up. "Let him in." Guided by the bearded elder, Jiang Ying, in a neat silver robe, walked into the manor, and bowed to Han Li. "Master Han, this is a personal letter from Master Lei." Jiang Ying took out the letter and gave it to Han Li with both hands. Once Han Li had received the letter, Jiang Ying left hurriedly to deliver the next letter. Han Li opened the letter and read it. He smiled and said, "How lucky Lei Jing is. He found an ancient cave dating to the Middle Ancient times, and he found 5 space treasures in it." Han Ku stood beside her father. When she heard about the space treasures, she thought about the spatial ring on Jiang Yuochen's finger. "Father, what happened?" Han Li put the letter away and said, "Lei Jing sent the 5 space treasures to the auction house. He hopes that I will go and support him." Space treasures are rare. In all of Kunlun's field, there are not many. Maybe Lei Jing's are flawed. Otherwise, he wouldn't auction them in Oman Ridge. Even if the space treasures had flaws, they were still incomparably precious, and each deserved to be contested for. Although Han Li had supreme cultivation and status, he had never seen a space treasure. He felt very excited and decided he would buy one. "Han Ku, you should come with me to expand your horizons." Since Lei Jing plans to auction the space treasures, he must have invited many big shots. The auction in 5 days will be a grand auction. There will likely be many other treasures as well, Han Li said. But at this moment, Han Ku was thinking about a different issue. Was it Jiang Yuochen or Lei Jing who had actually found the ancient cave of the Middle Ancient times? Han Ku preferred to believe it was the former. After all, she'd seen Jiang Yuochen use the spatial ring with her own eyes, and Jiang Yuochen had even taught her 9-yin sword. Maybe the 9-yin sword was a treasure Jiang Yuochen had found in the ancient cave. Han Ku wasn't sure why, but even though she knew this, she didn't share it, choosing instead to keep Jiang Yuochen's secret. As Lei Jing's letters were being sent to the big shots of Oman Ridge, he ordered the Martial Market Bank to get ready for the biggest auction of the year. Jiang Yuochen didn't know about any of this. After returning to his mansion, he started to practice Sword Ripple of 10 channels. He had just at the beginner level of Sun Meridian Ripple. He needed to continue practicing and strengthen it so that the power of the sword wave could become stronger. Meanwhile, he also started to study the other 9 sword waves. He planned to practice the 10 sword waves together. Just like this, time passed day by day. In the internal space of the time and space spinal, Jiang Yuochen practiced for half a month until he finally received a message from Lei Jing that the auction would be held at night. It was already midday now. Just a few hours before the auction, Jiang Yuochen stopped his practice temporarily. As he straightened his surroundings, Jiang Yuochen unexpectedly found 110,000 spiritual crystals, worth 110 million silver coins. Most of the spiritual crystals were from the Red Spider vessel when Jiang Yuochen had killed Mu King. It was a huge sum of wealth. Perfect. Since it's an auction, there must be some rare treasures I can buy. Jiang Yuochen was about to walk out with Kong Xuan, when 2 people walked in. They were Sik Kong and Chang Kiki. Jiang Yuochen was a little surprised and asked, "Eldest brother, elder brother Chang, How did you get in? Sing Kong was carrying a wine gourd and a strong smell of alcohol emanated from it. His long hair was scattered on both sides of his cheeks. He replied casually, "We walked in. You think a door can stop us?" Chang Kiki looked at Kong Xuan with a surprised expression and sighed. "We knocked for a long while and I was wondering why no one was answering. Now I know that my junior fellow apprentice Chang has hidden a beautiful girl in the house. He's dating her secretly and doesn't want to be bothered. Eldest brother, it seems we have disturbed his date. We'd better leave." "Yes, you are right, we shouldn't have rushed in hastily. If Commander Princess Yanjun asks us, we don't know how to cover this up for him." With this, he grabbed Chang Kiki's shoulder and headed out. Zhang Yuochen was dumbfounded. He held them back and said, "That's nonsense. Kong Xuan is my maid." "It's not what you think." Chang Kiki stopped and smiled. "Since she's just a maid, can you sell her to me? I'll give you a good price."